Welcome to another edition of the Physique Formula Podcast. If this is your first time here, my name is Phil. This is going to be a 5-minute research review talking about ways to optimize your recovery, longevity, performance, all of that good stuff. Instagram at official Physique Formula, X Physique Formula, physiqueformulasupplements.com. I started a line of all natural, artificial sweetener free, non-GMO, non-seed oil supplements. We have a BCAA that has additional stuff like taurine, glutamine, citrulline, betaine in there, grass-fed whey, omega-3s, digestive enzymes, all that good stuff. So check out physiqueformulasupplements.com. Today I want to talk about how to shop for the healthiest eggs. So does anyone else feel confused by the endless options of eggs in the grocery store today? That's literally what caused me to research this and start this and make this podcast and write articles about it, all that stuff. So there's a lot of tiers for stuff. So cage-free eggs are meaningless. What defines cage-free? No one knows, because generally all the hens are cage-free. It just means that they're not in cages where they're cramped. But cage-free simply means that the cages, the doors aren't locked. The hens are still in confined area with little room to move. I'm talking literally 1 to 2 feet of space per hen. This impacts the nutrition of the hen. Since being that close, diseases are going to rapidly spread. And most states have laws that are passed limiting traditional confinement, so it's even less important. Then you have antibiotic, vegetarian fed, and grade A eggs. So all of that generally gets lumped together. But antibiotic-free means nothing. Hens have never been fed antibiotics in the first place, so it's just a marketing ploy to play on words. Vegetarian-fed means that the hens are not given meat. But is that good? Hens need more protein for their health and able to pass through to your health. The hens are only getting the nutrients they need from higher protein amounts. Vegetarian-fed is not positive because the farmers just give hens soy and corn, which is the majority are fed to begin with. So labeling eggs vegetarian-fed is just reiterating the process. They're still fed corn and soy. Corn and soy are terrible sources of protein, especially when you add that at this stage, they are genetically modified. And all grade A or grade AA eggs referred to is the shape of the shell. It's less about the nutrition and more about how the shell looks. I wouldn't buy anything, no matter what kind of eggs you buy, that aren't grade A or grade AA. Organic eggs. Again, this doesn't mean much. It's less important. The hens absorb a lot of nutrients they get from food, but they aren't being fed high quality food to begin with. So as we discussed, they're primarily being fed corn and soy. When an egg is classified as an organic egg, it is fed organic soy and corn. And that's a big improvement because it means the hens are not intentionally being fed GMO corn and soy. Free range. This sounds amazing, doesn't it? Except that it just means slightly more than cage free. All range free means that the hens must have access to the outdoors. The hens are still cramped together and their outdoors is typically a confined, muddy area. Only the hens who are closer to the windows have access to the outdoors. It's not like a hen is going to walk the length of a cage to say a bunch of excuse me's, then get their hour in the sun. You may be able to find free-range non-GMO eggs. This is a start, and the hens are not fed GMOs. They still get soy and corn, but it'll be non-GMO soy and corn, which is a start. Omega-3 eggs. So this is entirely advertisement here. First off, the omega-3 content per egg is higher than other eggs. Isn't some better than other? Yeah, but not really when it comes to the eggs. The omega-3 content that the hens receive typically comes from flax. It's not a bad source of omega-3 at all. By the time it gets through the hen to the egg to you, you won't get a lot of the omega-3. It's actually a ripoff. Save money, buy some ground flax, then add to your yogurt or shake if you want omega-3s that way. Obviously, we have an omega-3 fish oil from wild caught fish that is mercury, PCB, and heavy metal free at physiqueformulasupplements.com. Pasture raised, now we're getting into one of the 2 gold standards here. Pasture raised, so for the hens have to have a minimum 108 square feet of pasture to forage on. So while the hen will still have access to the indoors, they must each have access to 108 square feet of outdoor pasture. And pasture-raised hens are still fed soy and corn, but they also have access to typical outdoor grubs and greens found in pasture. It's also important to note that pasture-raised hens are exposed to more sunlight and better self-care bathing practices. That's a long way from being stuck in a conventional cage or rolling around in other hens' poop. Pasture-raised eggs are still fed GMO corn and soy, however. Organic pasture-raised eggs, as close to the standard as we can find, if you can find them. Organic pasture-raised eggs receive all the benefits from pasture-raised hens, but are only fed organic soy and corn. They are not fed GMOs. And guys, a test is buy a bunch of different eggs at the store, crack them all. The color of the egg yolk matters and is indicative of the quality of the egg. The deeper the color, the more antioxidant-rich lutein and zeaxanthin it contains. That's what we want. Um, and the gold standard, which I recently found around where I live, are soy and corn-free eggs. They're insanely hard to find, even harder than organic pasture-raised eggs. While soy and corn-free eggs will not have an organic designation, they don't need to because they're not being fed genetically modified organisms to begin with. Now, obviously, whatever brand you buy, check out their website. They usually state what they feed them and ensure they do not feed them genetically modified organisms, but most brands do not. So if you're going to spend extra money, um, get a soy and corn-free egg, because if the farmer is not giving their hens soy and corn, they're not going to give it other stuff too. So, guys, subscribe to the podcast. Thank you so much for listening today.